Alright, y'all, this is yet another one of my spars. We're just gonna go right into it. As you can see right here, just starting out, feeling, testing around. Now, I know he's gonna try and hit me with some hooks, so I gotta be wary of that. Today, I was gonna, focus on being slightly more defensive, get some pullbacks in. Yeah. Anyway, there's a light 1-2 there. Just testing the waters again. Now, I've sparred this guy Daniel 3 times now, so I have a slight clue about what he's gonna do. Anyway, continuing on, just throw out a jab there. Now, luckily, I'm literally just avoiding a lot of this with a step back. However, the thing with a step back is I'm out of range, but so is he. So, neither of us could really get a hit in, and we just reset. Now, obviously, I might need to, stay in range a bit more, because as you can see, half the time I'm just out of range, and it takes me a bit to get back in, which, just wastes time on my part. But I think some good jabs here. Now, here's what gets me, right, on the inside, so I have to find a way to escape just like that. As you can see, Daniel's head movement is really, really good. Now get a 1-2 in, and then there's a 1 to the head, 2 to the body. I like a bit of a volley there. Just continuing with the spar, there's a cross from me, but it's answered quickly from him. And then another cross, but a hook clips my chin a bit. However, I didn't get 2 wobbles, so I'm just happy about that. Now he just stands in front of me a bit, and if I capitalized a bit more, I would have gone that, but that's my bad. As you can see at the end, I didn't see him want to touch gloves with me, so that's my bad. But Coach is talking to me here at the end, as he always does. He's helping me out. But it isn't the end, y'all, because we have a couple more rounds to go. Now, today, you can see me just doing some body feints. I don't know why I said today. As you can see, I'm employing a bit of a pendulum when I do that step back. And I'm not really used to walking people down, so I really just don't know how to cut the ring well and keep them in those strategic positions. And I get some good shots in there. Not all of it landed, and there's more volume right there. And I don't think much of that actually landed that substantially. But it's good to be able to throw volume. Now, we're just probing with that jab going in. I like that long guard a lot. That's a quadruple jab. I honestly don't know what the thought process behind throwing that was, but I mean, I guess it worked. Trying to get me with that 1-2. Like I said, the step back's working absolute wonders for me. Takes him out of range, but it also takes me out of range. So we have to both reset. I'm just throwing that jab out there. Not even trying to really hurt him with it. I'm just, using it as a throwaway, blind the opponent. And then I get some good shots in there as he's backing me down into the edge of the ring. We're back in this area again. Land a good 2, but he lands a great hook. At this point, I'm just absolutely abusing that setback. But I really need to get it dialed in so that I could still get into range faster, because as you can see, it's like a lot of wasted time whenever I do that. And anyway, that ended right there. Alright, y'all, a bit of a surprise today. Today we have 2 partners. This is Miguel. Now, it's not the same Miguel that I've sparred in the other spars, but yeah. Anyway, continuing on with the body shot. Just probing with a jab. It's always how I like to start and study my opponents, or my sparring partners for that, actually. Never had a real opponent yet. But, as you can see, I'm realizing at this point that he's a newer boxer, so I really could just test a couple of things here. So just knowing this, I focus on different maneuvers that I don't normally focus on, just because I knew the risk of me actually getting really like badly injured wasn't too high, and so yeah, I just chose to practice what I don't do. Now that double jab was working for me, so I threw a triple, and that also worked. So this is a case study that I need to implement more. Just more jabs in general, literally same hand combinations. I think we'll get through a lot more in my other spars too. Now he wraps me up there a bit, pushing me down. Luckily I got away before anything crazy would happen. And as you can see, I'm just throwing a counter left, and really he couldn't do anything about it there. Obviously it's something with time, right? I mean, I know he's newer than me, so it's just different. Anyway, I threw a double cross there. And he's literally just backing me up just because I kept going in at a horrible time. But yeah, that's the end of that round. Alright y'all, another round to go, so let's do it. Touch gloves, as always. You always gotta do that when you spar. Unlike the other rounds where I refused to touch gloves just because I didn't see it. Anyway, that was solid work right there from him. He was able to throw a whole bunch of crosses that just kept backing me up into the corner. But that jab into the body cross worked really well for me because it had him guarding lower. And I'm just able to, throw my counters as I usually do. Here, as you can see, I did a quick pullback counter. Obviously, it wasn't the most, how can I say, the most technical counter ever, but I mean, it worked. So I just need to dial it in more, I think. Coach is teaching me a lot of good things. I mean, even that step back counter that you see, it's from him. And that's what boxing is all about. Take what you like and implement it to the best of your ability. Anyway, shake my head there because I'm just annoyed that I'm getting hit with things I shouldn't be hit with, but that was a good counter there. What happened there was I threw a jab to the body, and then I found the timing to go up top when he was expecting me to go to the body again. Now, like I said, he's a beginner, so a lot of things are just landing a lot for me. Just, because of that slight experience gap. So, I was really just using this time to work on stuff that's new. And as you can see, I'm shaking my head there, and this is what I had to say. Alright y'all, glasses are on. That means we're doing even more statistics. So let's start with the first part of the spar, and that was against Daniel. Let's start out with my statistics for the first round. I threw 22 and 9 when it came to my left hand, and 31 and 15 when it came to my right hand. So that's only straights. But overall, my left hand had a 41% percentage, and my right hand had a 46% in all for that round. So it's about as similar to my other spars, but as you can see, I had 63 punches thrown, which is a lot compared to my others in my first round. Round 2, y'all, I threw 57 and 21, so that's still a lot compared to most of my second rounds. Normally I threw about 50 in my other spars, but anyway, as you can see, I had a 0% landing percentage in some of those shots where I was just going to singles in. A lot of that came from the volley that I did mid-round in the second round there. But overall, I think it looks pretty good. My straights and my jabs, they're about the same with my right hand, actually landing 40% of the time, which is really good compared to my other spars with Daniel. So I did pretty good with my right hand here. Alright, let's go to the final stats, y'all. In these 2 rounds, I threw 120 punches. And that's pretty good because in my other spar I threw 170, so this is only 50 off of the last one. And speaking of 50, I landed 50, and this gives me a 41.6% landing percentage in all, so I'm doing pretty good on that, as I stated. Now let's go over to Daniel. So he threw 24 and landed 6, 25% landing percentage. A lot of those came from his left hook with a 20% landing percentage, and his straight to the head, which had a 50% landing percentage, which is really good. Whenever he throws, it counts a lot of the time, and honestly, he throws really well. Like, if I were to get hit by all of those, I would probably be asleep on the floor. Round 2, he threw 27 and landed 8, 29.63% landing percentage, which is honestly, as I said, pretty good. He threw a couple hooks to the head and straights to the head, this time even in both of those facets of his game. So overall, he threw 51 and 14 in just these 2 rounds. If there was another round, he would have a lot more punches thrown, I'm sure of it. Now he had a 27.45% landing percentage, which is pretty good. His total punches on his lead hand actually come out to a 38.1% landing percentage, or his rear hand, that's my bad. But hey, that's pretty good in all. Now let's go to part 2. Alright y'all, let's go to part 2 of statistics. So round 3 for me, I threw 50 punches and landed 19 of them. That's a 38% landing percentage for me. I had a 62% success rate with my left hand, which, you know, it's gonna happen because it's a southpaw versus orthodox, and he was a beginner. So, you know, obviously a lot of them are gonna land. My right hand had a 26.67%, so on that jab, it's about the same. Now for my final round, I threw 37 and landed 21. So the reason why I said fuck at the end of that last round wasn't because of my sparring partner at all. It was because I thought I was doing absolutely horribly, which I'm gonna be honest, yeah, my output went down, but honestly, if you think about it, it isn't too bad, right? I have a 56.76% landing percentage here, which is really good compared to most of my landing percentages. And all in all, I think I could say I just didn't do too horrible, which I think is a win. Anyway, these final stats here show I threw 87 and landed 40 with a 45.98% landing percentage, 60% landing percentage in all on my left hand, which is my rear hand, and that is really good. But my lead hand brought that down with a 36% landing percentage. Now let's go to Miguel. I really hope that that's his name. Correct me if I'm wrong, Miguel, or anybody else in the comments, please. I would hate to get his name wrong. Now, anyway, Miguel threw 36 and landed 10, 27.78% landing percentage. And that's pretty good. Now here's where the experience gap shows. He threw only the straights. Each of them look pretty good in percentage, both pretty near each other. And for his second round, he threw 46 and landed 9. That's pretty high, actually, when it comes to throwing punches. He actually threw more punches than me, which is really commendable. And he had a 19.57% landing percentage, which honestly, that's pretty good. And finally, his final stats come out to 82 and 19 with a 23.17% landing percentage. Overall, he threw 47 jabs with a 25% landing percentage and a couple crosses, which is 35 of them, with a 20% landing percentage. And that's about it for statistics, y'all. That's really all I have to say for today. All I need to focus on now is one of the things I want to get better at is my pullback counters, and I want to land more body shots, and I think Coach is helping me out with that. Anyway, that's all I have to say, y'all. I'm Kobe Gaza. Please subscribe to my channel, and I hope you have a great day.